Yeah, hey. 2 health and a dream. Oh. Where's not even in regs? No. Real. You do a sonic boom with his freaking hands. Bro sings the Air Force song every single time he wins. Probably. It looks like it's a ripped flight suit. Bro's got like a NATO flight suit. Pretty sure those are blue. Yes. It's usually waiverable.
Something's wrong, I feel it circling like vultures around my brain. Couldn't see the danger.
Hello everybody and welcome to Season 2, Episode 1 of The Coach's Corner. Trigger here, Coach of Georgetown, joined by Blake and Pars, Coach of Montana and UConn respectively. Blake, Pars, how you guys doing tonight?
Doing
Doing
great,
good.
man.
Yeah.
You can tell it's been a while. Well, both me and Blake just talked over each other real quick just to tell you how we're feeling. You can tell it's been a while.
Yeah. Pars usually knows that I'm supposed to speak first, but anyways.
Yeah, it's been a minute. We've had a long off season. I think we're all very excited for Week 1 though, weren't we? And then no one talks. Perk,
Over
you
here
guys are
waiting for Blake to
killing it.
talk first
You guys
again,
are
man.
killing it.
Blake, go, Blake, go.
So, sorry guys, I had to mute the stream. Can you repeat the question?
I said it's been a long time. We had a long off season, but we were all very excited for Week 1, weren't we?
Oh yeah, it was a very disappointing week for some of us, but it was a great start for season 2 in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, Trigger, by the way, apparently music
It's
is
off.
playing.
I just turned it
Yeah,
off.
okay,
It's
cool.
off.
Anyways, yeah, I was really excited. Obviously, I got to play my old OC. Got to hang out and play against his team and see what he was all about. And I was really excited going into it. And I'm still really excited for this season. The offseason felt forever.
It did. It felt like a long, long time. I was so excited to get into the booth and coach again. Big matchup. We had some disagreements though on the first polls that came out, the preseason coach polls. But now after week 1, 5 games in play, we have new polls out. Let's take a look at those first. So I'll just go over first. And we can talk about it a little bit and go with each other what we think. So obviously UCO stays number 1. UConn jumps to number 2. App State jumped from number 6 to number 3. Upper Iowa jumps from 9 to 4. Coastal Carolina drops from, I think they're number 3 to number 5. Number 2 to number 5. Miami jumps from 10 to 6. Montana falls from 3 to 7. Georgetown falls from 5 to 8. UCA falls down to 9. And North Dakota State falls all the way down to 10. Blake, let's go here first. What are your thoughts on these rankings? Where do you think everybody landed? And do you think it's justified?
I think most everybody is in a justified position. You know, like we said when the first rankings came out, you had some people that was a little upset and all that. And what did we say? We said these could change drastically going to the next week. And they did. You know, Upper Iowa got to prove that they were disrespected, and that's, you know, they need to be in the top 5 range. Obviously, Central Oklahoma is still the best team in the league. Myself, Montana dropped a lot. I think we were overhyped, especially coming off of the postseason that we had. UConn had a great performance in the first week, and I still think there's some teams that, you know, could be in the top 5 that just hasn't reached their potential yet.
Pars?
I mean, look, coming into this week, obviously a bunch of the 1-0 teams are going to be over. Do I believe there's a couple 0-1 teams that could possibly and be better than a bunch of the 1-0 teams? Yes, but it's weekly, right? It's weekly power rankings. I will say that Trigger was correct with me being at 2 to start. He's not wrong, just ahead. All right, ahead of schedule. Now, NDSU being 10 upsets me personally because NDSU lost to us. UCA lost to Miami. UCA needs to flip. That's the only thing. I think this is looking like a pretty good thing. I know Coastal's 0-1 above Miami, but I don't see anything wrong with that. They played the best team in the game right now, so I don't see anything wrong with that.
You know, I tend to agree. I think everybody is in the correct spot after week 1. The only thing you can maybe flip, and I'm going to make Sneak mad here with more disrespect, but I don't think it should be this way. I think Upper Iowa was in the correct spot, but you could justify Coastal Carolina for UIU at 5. You could justify it, I think, but I think to me they're in the right spot. But other than that, the rankings I think are pretty accurate. You can maybe swap Miami and Montana. Montana played a much better team than Miami did. But I mean, other than that, I think the rankings killed it. Coach did a good job this week. Yeah, so that's kind of where that lands. You have anything else to think about the polls before we move on to the matchups from last week?
You know, there's one thing I keep saying. You know, in these next few weeks, we'll find out who the pretenders are and who's going to be the contenders. So, really, this poll still, in my opinion, doesn't mean much. Just like the first week's poll, I think around week 4 or 5, it will kind of be pretty accurate based on where people need to be, because last week could have been a fluke for some people. So, but we're only in 1 week. We'll find out next week.
I tend to agree with Blake. This doesn't happen often, but I do agree with Blake here for this instance. I mean, it's week 2. We saw week 1. Everything can change this week. Nothing happened week 1 could happen this week. It all depends. Like, we'll go on to next week's games later, but I play Coastal. Who knows what's going to happen then? That's a good team that lost to a good team. So it's like some of these good teams are below where they should be, and I think we're going to figure it out by week 5, 6.
I agree totally. Now, if you guys are ready, I think we go ahead and I'm going to open a poll real quick for the fans so I can figure this one out. Anything else going right through the stream tonight? Poll is open. Do you think the polls were correct or not? Let us know in the chat. Give us your opinions. Vicey says you could easily justify UIU at 6. I think that'd be a little low for them personally. Absolutely the best state. Polls up. Let us guys know what you think. If y'all are ready, I think we move on to the week's matchups. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we're just getting trolls
in the
chat
Troll,
right now.
not in this league. That's not a thing. Not a thing in this league. Why is it all gonna break? Because my wife hates me. All right, so let's go over first game. What was the first game this week? Let's go over UCO, CCU, we think.
Pars?
Wow, I got to go first. How generous. All right.
What's wrong?
No, I mean this game pretty much went how I thought. To be honest with you, due to the fact that UCO's coming the champion. They won last year for a reason. CCU is a good team. They lost their starting quarterback. They lost their starting running back. They have two brand new receivers leading that team now. Most of the defense stayed, but they also got like 6 defensive players in the recruiting class. So I thought that they would struggle at first, but this game pretty much went exactly how I thought it would. US01 top.
We got Blake.
Which on the UCO game, yeah, I tend to agree. I think that Gage and CCU is still one of the top 3 teams in the league. Obviously, you had to play the best team in the league, in my opinion, and you had some changes going into this season. So it's not a team that you need to count out. I think they got disrespected in the polls, and CCU will be back.
Yeah, I agree. So I think kind of player of the game, I think, was looking at this game right off the bat. Weasley was 19 of 25, 208 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's huge. Weasley starting off where he left off last year. Already starting his Heisman campaign. I don't have names on these, but they had a couple guys over 30 yards rushing. Weasley didn't have a great day on the ground, -4 yards. They had multiple guys with 2+ catches. They had 4 guys with 2 or more catches, which is big. Make that 5 guys with 2 or more catches, which is huge. So, UCO does what they do. Their offense is fantastic. Seems like almost unstoppable at times. And you look at Coastal Carolina. Hoffman, the freshman, was only 9 of 21, not super accurate. 2 touchdowns, which is good. 2 picks, which is going to hurt you against UCO. You can't give them extra possessions. The area scored enough as it is. Edenfield had 13 attempts and 69 yards. A solid day for him. But I think game, like you guys said, went as everybody thought it would. UCO is kind of reloading. Coastal Carolina's more rebuilding, I think we all thought. But Coastal Carolina still proved they're going to be a team to be reckoned with in going forward, and in the season could definitely be in the national championship picture. And UCO just showed that they're probably still the best team in the league until someone proves differently. Any last thoughts on the UCO Coastal Carolina game?
I think that about covers it for those two.
Yeah, okay. I'm good there.
What's next? Let's go to the who played UConn NDSU game.
I'm out on this one. You two talk.
Well, no, you coached it, so like you don't have to say anything. Like just as a coach, how'd the game go? Did it go? Did you guys explode a little bit? What were your thoughts as that game was going?
I mean, look, I got a brand new OC, right? We built the offense together a couple days prior, and we went over the script. We had everything planned for that game. Going in, playing Ender. I thought it'd be a good game, honestly, but I've played the base roster before, and I'm not entirely surprised. There's not a lot of skill on that team. He brought in a lot of 5-stars. I believe he brought in 4 5-star recruits. Fantastic for him, fantastic for that organization, but they have a lot of room to grow. It's their first game together as a staff. Not sure how their practices went in the preseason and or off season, how their team was playing, but I do know that kind of went how I expected it. I expected to go in there and get the win. Winning by almost 30, no, but I expected to go in there and get the win.
So I'll bring it up. There was a little bit of controversy at the end of the game where it seemed like you were hedging some bets a little bit. The under bettors were very upset with you. So kind of can you explain? I mean, what happened there? What was I'm sure that didn't cross your mind, but you scored late a couple times. Were you trying to? Was it just it happened to happen? What was the thought process there?
So I will say that when you have 2 coordinators in your ears yelling at you to score as many points as humanly possible, nonstop, go, 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 and having to play principal or parent and calming them down and being like, no. So the final 2 minutes, I took control of offense and defense. Neither one of them called anything. And it was just, I tried running the ball, and I was running passes that didn't work the entire game. And then all of a sudden they worked. And we scored more points. And did I feel bad? Little, it's Ender. But also, I don't care about anyone's bets ever. If I go over and you bet the under, that's on you, man. Like I'm going for the over every single game.
I hear you. Blake, what were your thoughts watching this game? NDSU, first game of their RFCL career. UConn starting off strong as they did all last year. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so at the end of the game, obviously it's going to be pretty tough for a brand new team to come in and play against, in my opinion, one of the top 4 teams in the league. You have a brand new staff with a brand new team, haven't had much time to be able to figure out whatever their scheme is, what they're going to do. But there's some things that I saw at the end of the game that I don't know if anyone else saw. Late in the third quarter and going into the fourth quarter, Vince Young actually was playing extremely well. And that's one of those things that where if they can figure out how to get Vince playing well a whole game or maybe more than 2 quarters, this isn't a team to just brush off. Defensively, not a very good team. I think in terms of scheme and, knowing what to do, I think they lack that right now. I think that's just something with being a new team. But like I said, I wouldn't sleep on NDSU yet. I wouldn't count them out yet. It could be a team that's going to shock somebody because, like I said, the way they played offensively into the third and the fourth quarter, they were moving the ball really well. Vince Young was making very good plays. And also, UConn, just all around great team, great head coach. But the thing is, what we'll find out is Zach for real? Absolutely great first game, but brand new coordinator. I'm looking forward to next week to see if Zach continues these kind of points.
Yeah, no. So I mean, I think the game got a little further out of hand than I thought it would. But I had UConn top 2 preseason. And I had NDSU number 9. So I mean, the outcome wasn't that big a surprise to me. I will think. I mean, again, I've been on kind of UConn bandwagon in the offseason. I think cool a little bit because I think people agree it was NDSU their first game. I think we're all kind of waiting to see. I think everybody got excited about NDSU's recruiting class. People forget it's 1 recruiting class. Everybody else has had 2. And 3-star recruits are big time in this league. They were starters for most teams immediately. So 2 recruiting classes compared to 1, I think really makes all the difference in the world. Especially that's 5 guys who are probably starting. And NDSU doesn't have those 5 guys. Interim company has got to find their mojo, figure out what works in Coach League, what doesn't work in Coach League. I mean, so expected. I'm still big on UConn, but I still think UCO is easy number 1 at the moment. Just kind of going over this game. I'm sure Pars was super excited to see Weasley go 22 of 29. Only 57 yards. That has to be inaccurate, right? Surely he had more than 57 yards.
Yeah, so he actually, those are very incorrect. I believe he went, I don't know, completion and everything. If you go over all the way to the end, you'll find like season 2 stats. But he threw for 302 yards and a touchdown. That touchdown was to Bryce Robinson. Bryce Robinson had 83 yards on the ground and 4 touchdowns, 3 in the ground and 1 through the air.
Okay, so it looks like he had 320 pass yards, 1 passing touchdown. He got sacked twice, and no turnovers. So great day for Weasley. I'm sure Pars was stoked to see that. Quarterback play in this league is super important. So I'm sure he was absolutely excited to see that. And I don't know if I can trust these stats. Robinson had 18 attempts for 83 yards and 3 touchdowns. Is that right? On the ground?
Yeah.
And 1 through the air?
Yep.
Ooh, that's 4 touchdowns. If he had 4 touchdowns, that's a possible player of the week type guy, if you ask me. Just a thought there. So big day for Connecticut. And then NDSU. First game, like we all said, we all knew it. Vince Young III was 18-32 for 236, which is not bad. But as Blake was saying, that really happened at the last part of the game, kind of in junk time. 2 touchdowns and a pick. Not much ground game to speak of for NDSU, but again, I think a result we all expected. It probably got a little more out of hand than we thought, but great game by Pars, great game Connecticut, and NDSU still trying to find their way. I'm sure they will at some point.
And just a little throw in from the commissioner, about index totals. UConn came out of this game with 890 index points, leading the whole league out of week 1.
It's huge.
So in terms of index points, very big game for them.
So Blake, why don't you explain index points real quick, just for in case anybody is not from the league that really know what you're talking about.
Yeah, so index points. So we saw last year where we did a signing day, which included a ton of recruits, including coaches recruits. We saw where you could buy packs, you can buy chances in a raffle. We had a lot of everyone buying packs and all that stuff, and so most everyone, kind of had their opportunity to build up and whatnot. But we saw this system that we really liked, and that's what we call the index point system. It really rewards those who are active, who has full staffs. Even if you lose every game, if you have a full staff, all your coaches on cam, and you could just hit an objective every once in a while, you're going to have enough index points at the end of the year to be able to add some pieces that you need to your team. But obviously, it's going to reward those more who have everyone there and perform really well. And that's what you saw for UConn. So, expect to see those really high totals for teams that's super involved and that's doing very well in the league.
Very, very nice. Thanks, Blake. Anything else we want to add to the UConn North Dakota State game?
I think I'm good.
All right, let's jump into another game we had last week. App State, Montana was a nail-biter of a game. Blake unfortunately came out on the wrong side of this on a game-winning field goal. More of a classic RFCL game, much slow scoring, back and forth, tight game. App State's a field goal at the end to win by 2. Blake, what were your thoughts going through this game, and how'd you feel at the end? I'm sure it was not great.
I've said it probably like 12 times in chat, but for coaches, for the coaches who are about to play Mason, I hope you're ready, because App State is going to limit your time of possession. Their time of possession is going to be higher than yours. They're going to make you make the most of every time you have the ball on the offense, and that's what they did for us. If we made mistakes, they made us pay for it, and they were able to have good pace with the ball. Spurbeck was driving down the field. He was setting them up for good opportunities to score. So if you can't move the ball on offense and you can't figure something out, you're in trouble. But yeah, it's, like we were saying, one of the most hot teams going into season 2. Kind of showed a little bit, didn't really show out too much. We didn't play that well. We got out coached, but hats off to the App State squad. They're about the height.
Pars, what were your thoughts watching this game? You commentated this game, I believe, didn't you?
Yeah. So I commentate the worst throw you've ever going to see in your entire career and or life directly to a Montana corner that got absolutely nowhere with the ball. But I was commentating and I saw something weird. So both quarterbacks, scrambler type, they can run, right? I think Chupa Batman MacArthur was doing a better job on the ground than Sandy Bones. Spurbeck was destroying that team. I thought it was weird because going into it, I thought Montana had worlds better of an offense. 2 5-star recruits at receiver. Lakip didn't even start. I forget your starter's name, but Kid. Very good, very good. So going into it, I thought it'd be like offense, but it just wasn't. It was defense the entire game. And I'm going to steal your job here for a second, Trig. If you hold a quarterback to 2 for 9 and 2 interceptions, you need to win that game.
Yeah.
And that's all I got.
Yeah, so who was 2 for 9?
Sandy Bones went 2 for 9 with 2 interceptions throughout the entire game.
That can't be accurate, right? Is that accurate?
No, it is. It is. App State literally couldn't throw the ball to save their lives.
Spurbeck
Spurbeck
was
had like 100 and something yards.
Ours is right.
I see now.
Spurbeck was the offense.
Oh,
But
that
I
makes
will
sense.
say
Yeah, no,
one more
that's
thing.
crazy.
Yeah, one more thing. I will say shout out to App. Fantastic team over there. Good guys. Fantastic coaches. I think this game was played tight because of them, to be honest with you. I feel like it was a good game.
It was a great game. I caught bits and pieces of my kid. I was playing a little championship game with slow pitch softball, so I didn't get to catch all of this game, but I was in and out of it watching it. I did see the end of it. App State seemed to move the ball a little better. Still not a ton of points. 16 points is a good amount of points, but I think we expect a little more. Sandy Bones, 2 of 9, 59 yards is not great. That is a game that you expect to win. I mean, he has many interceptions as completions. You expect to win that. So bad luck. But Spearbeck did have a game. 150 yards and touchdown on the ground is a game. I don't know if it's good enough for win Heisman. Last year it was. I think Armstrong had about that kind of game last year, but this year I don't think it's going to be enough. We'll see. That is yet to be determined. And it looks like there were 2 turnovers forced by App State. That's big. Turnovers in this league are always big. And especially, like Blake saying, App State's going to hold on to the football. So again, giving extra possessions may not cost you points, but it's going to cost you a chance to score points because they're going to hold on to the football as long as they can. Hopefully they finish it. And then looking at Montana, was Batman MacArthur 6 of 9? Is that accurate? Do we know?
Should be. Yeah, he didn't throw well either.
Okay.
He did not.
Well, that's pretty accurate. That's 66%. 2 touchdowns and a pick, but not very many yards. Less than 10 yards an average as a completion there. Kid had a good day on the ground, 12 attempts, 47 yards. And then it looks like you forced 1 turnover. So super close game. Again, to me, this is kind of where I had my preseason stuff. App State was the top 3 team. Montana's probably a little lower, needed to prove itself. And I think they did. Montana showed that well. That game, App State scrimmages get pretty ugly at times. So there was a lot of hype for them. Montana showed that they're beatable. Played the whole game, actually led the whole game until this month. I think at the end there was a turnover, I believe.
And to add to that, I think defensively we played really well. Anytime you can keep a hyped team to 17 points, we'll take that any day. But our offense definitely lagged.
Yeah, so it was a good game of both teams. I think Montana showed they're probably a top 5 team at this point. And App State to me jumped to the 3, rightfully so, in my thoughts. Any last thoughts on Montana App State?
No, I'm good.
Nope.
All right, that moves us to Georgetown, Upper Iowa. I made you guys talk about the game, so I'll talk about my game as well. Super disappointing game for Georgetown. We expected a lot more. We ended the season last year on the 3-game streak, one of which we lost, but 3 games, our offense played really well. Defense did what they do. We were super stoked going into this game. We took a bit of a risk, redshirting a 5-star quarterback and playing a transfer, but we thought he had similar stats for a quarterback last year, so it's like it should work out just fine. We just could not get him going. We could not run the offense we wanted to run. I think we were rusty getting plays called in. So a lot of different things went wrong for us. And all credit in the world to UIU. They did what they do. They ran the ball, took the ball away from us. Played a really good game. Coach Sneak was really upset about the disrespect he got in the preseason, which he rightfully should have been. And they got the win. So we're disappointed. It's not what we wanted to do, start the season out, but we're going to try to get back on track next week and get a win. But what were y'all's thoughts watching this game? And what do you think of both teams?
Pars?
Nah, we both said I'll go, yeah. So going in, I thought it was going to be a really close game, right? I mean, both these teams play each other close. It's just going to happen. This is a great little rivalry they got going on here. Fantastic field. I mean, my 5-star quarterback is at Upper Iowa, so obviously I was rooting for them. I will say, I saw in chat earlier, Vice said something, as soon as we get our offense together, we're going to be a top 2, top 3 team. I will say that you said that last year. You got it together at the very end, and you got to the playoffs with it, but not everyone makes the playoffs this year. So you got to figure it out a lot quicker than what you did. I will say both of these offenses have an opportunity to be great. Both defenses are great. And the quarterback situation at Georgetown is a little weird. 5-star quarterback Abba being redshirted. Fine if you like the transfer. That's fine. He has to play better.
Yeah, I have to agree with you, Pars. And, going into this game, we knew it would be low scoring. Georgetown usually struggles offensively. Defensive side never really has to struggle. It's no surprise they kept them under 14 points. One thing that we haven't mentioned is I believe Upper Iowa's starting running back had a lot of hype for him this year. Transfer coming in, suffered a season-ending injury, but doesn't matter because they have 3 other guys that can step up to the plate for Upper Iowa who will do just as good. But yeah, Upper Iowa did what they do. They manage the clock. They run the ball. And this year they also have Mr. Barry, MC. He was able to show a little bit of what he could do. They didn't really open him up, but he did what he needed to do. But yeah, just, a game we figured it would be. If Georgetown ever finds something offensively, it's going to be a team to look out for.
Yeah, so actually, I just want to, this is an idea for next year. I don't want to get into discussion about it right now. But, with him getting hurt for the season, maybe it brings up a possibility of like a medical red shirt. That's a conversation for another day, but just I thought about that. I watched it. I was like, he should be able to. He played like 2 carries, and then now he's gone for a year. Just a thought for maybe next season. But go ahead, Par. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you there, bud.
No, you're fine, brother. That's a great idea. I was just gonna do what you usually do. For all these, since it's your team, I figured I'll do it for you. Upper Iowa, Barry MC. Probably can't say his name live on YouTube. Went 12 for 19, 121 yards through the air, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. 11 carries for 56 yards and no touchdowns. That's not bad. The running game for everyone else on the team didn't do great. Receiving is all right. And if we go back up to who we were just talking about with Georgetown, not Abba, but the
Eves.
Transfer. Eves.
Eves.
All right, so they got his name wrong. Wait, tell me if this is right. 7 of 14, 54 yards, no touchdowns, 3 attempts on the ground, and negative 20 yards. Negative
Yeah.
20 yards. He gets sacked 3 times?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
He
So that is
made
when
some
you
bad
go
decisions
in.
to run the ball.
Yeah. When you go in thinking, because it was Breer you thought he was like, right?
Buyer. Yeah.
Buyer. So when you go in thinking it's like Buyer, thinking he has the speed, thinking he has the arm talent, and he gets negative 20 yards, sacked 3 times, bad decisions running the ball, and doesn't throw for. You got talented receivers. I'm not going to sit here and say you don't. Sits here and throws 7 of 14. How you feeling about him after one game?
Honestly, I put the blame on us, myself and Orpheus. We didn't give him any real position to run the football. He's not a pocket passer, but the options we ran, he handed it off. We never gave him a chance to just take off and run. I do wish he'd make better decisions running the ball from a pass situation. He had some opportunities he could have just taken off from the behind line scrimmage, but I think that's on us. We got to put him in a better situation to actually just run the football and not be in a pass situation. He's not a passer. He's like Buyer. He's not a passer. He can make some throws. That's not what he does. He's quick as can be. He's fast. So we need to do better on our end getting him an actual run plays for him, designed run plays for a quarterback. So I put that more on us. But I have talked to Orpheus. We've had a long discussion. Eves is gonna start on Wednesday. Running game's gonna be. If it starts going like it was before, we're going to pull the red shirt off of Ward and not Abba. And Ward is our pocket passer recruit right in. And we're going to go with Ward. We really just want that bonus for Abba in the next season. So that's what we're doing. That's our plan next game. If Eves can't get it together, we will pull the red shirt off of Ward.
Last thing before we move on to the next matchup, do you have any comment on Derrick Henry's involvement in last week's game, or do you have any?
He'll be getting more carries as well. I think last week we were rusty. I think we got out what we wanted to do pretty quickly. We'll be back into it Wednesday. Much different offense Wednesday against Miami.
Sweet.
All right. So that moves us to what was really the game of the week. Especially Monday, it was a matchup between expansion team Miami of Ohio and UCA Bears. And this game, I think, shocked a lot of people. Kind of a breaking out party for Miami. Some might say Miami's getting a lot of hype right now. Blake, let's start with Pars this time. Pars, what were your thoughts on this game watching it? Reactions, thoughts, afterthoughts? What you got?
Let me tell you, going in, I had all the faith of the world in UC. I'm not even gonna lie. I usually in any other game I wouldn't have. I will talk about my lack of trust in this team, not the coaches, but in the team. I will talk about it. I'm open about it. I do not trust this team to win a game. But it's an expansion team, Miami. One recruiting class, decent recruiting class, 5 stars. A quarterback and running back, decent recruiting class. But coming in, I thought Parker Howell would kill it. I'm not even going to lie. After seeing George Weasley, after seeing Fred Weasley, these sophomore quarterbacks, Parker's always been, in my opinion, a step below. But seeing these sophomores, I thought this team would come in and win by double digits. Turns out I was completely wrong, completely flipped. And UCA, you forgive me, but they looked like a middle school team playing against college.
Blake?
Yeah, so, I'm not sure if anyone saw the breaking news today, but, UCA is an absolute shambles. This program is, I don't know, it seems headed south. They're going to have to do something, turn something around, get some kind of structure to be able to even compete this year. Miami was one of those teams where we had opinions of them, but they were very, odd opinions because we had no idea about them. Brand new staff. They are an expansion team. Didn't know how they're going to play, but we knew that they would have a 5-star quarterback and a 5-star running back. LaDainian Thompson absolutely showed out. What was it, like a 73-yard rush he had for a touchdown to open the game?
It's like,
yes, sir.
Yeah. Mason comes out and just, it looks like mini Manziel out there. It's a team that's already figured out what they need to do offensively, in my opinion. They may need a little bit of work on defense, but, this is, again, one of those teams to watch out for. But, I think the better team won. UCA just needs some more structure. Maybe they can figure it out. I know Nismo's a great coach. Maybe he can get his team together. and play a little bit better, get a scheme going.
Yeah, so I think, neither team's got a bunch of respect in the offseason and the polls. Miami because of their expansion, and then UCA, I think everybody's just kind of like, what's going to happen here? And they've been in shambles since the end of last season, to be honest with you, from what I can tell. So it was kind of what's going to happen here. And then Miami came out, and I think really shocked the world, to be honest with you. They came out and just kind of took it to them. You know, Tomlinson goes 8 attempts, 86 yards, a touchdown. That's 10 yards of carry. That's huge. They had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 guys with 2 catches or more. Tomlinson had 5 for 43. Their big one was that guy for 6 catches, 70, sure, 6 catches, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Like, they were everywhere. Like, and then I would be remiss if I didn't mention Mason Taylor III, 26 to 33, 238 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks. They were just clicking on all cylinders at all points. It was impressive to watch for the first game. And we all said about NDSU and Miami, you got to figure out coach mode. It's a different beast than user league. So can you figure it out? And everybody pumped the brakes, but one game in, they had it figured out. Now they've got a bigger test next week. I shouldn't say that. They're playing me. They've got another test next week and see where that goes. And so, like, they have a lot to prove, but after week 1, you can't argue that they've got it figured out.
Right.
Yeah. You definitely can say they got a bigger test next week. It's you, but you can 100% say that.
I don't like saying,
I will say, and this is going to be a question for later. Tomlinson, you said, had 8 rushes for 86 yards and a touchdown.
That's what
his one long
team
touchdown
says.
was 72.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the head coach.
I like it. Speaking of head coach, that is our guest of the week. We have head coach of Miami. He's in Team 1, guys. We're head over Team 1.
Yeah.
In Discord. Speaking of head coach of Miami, we have a special guest tonight. It is the head coach of Miami, Barack Chalk. Barack, how's it going tonight, man?
Oh, it's going well. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for coming. Appreciate it. Big win this week. First game in your career, I believe, especially as Miami head coach. Very impressive. Got the big win over UCA. What are your thoughts and feelings on that game, and how did it go, and how was your first game? Were there any nerves, and how did you get over them?
I would say that there definitely was some nerves. I mean, first game ever playing in a user league with actual stakes. So, I mean, we just kind of had to start from the ground running. I mean, me and Merrill ended up getting a good system kind of working and everything. And we just kind of had to power through. We had a good faith in each other, and we kind of just kept working on it. And overall, it went really well.
Blake, Pars, what you guys got for Coach Barack?
Barack, what do you have to say to everyone out there who just thinks that this is beginner's luck? Was this just a one-time thing, or is this going to be the same Miami team we see all the rest of the year?
I would just say tune in next week. I mean, it really just comes down to how we end up dealing with that adversity. We didn't see too much adversity in the first game. No disrespect to UCA. They just didn't have a whole lot going for them. But, I mean, if we end up having to go against the brick wall that is Georgetown and Coach Vicey on defense, there can definitely be some issues there. And, I mean, just kind of see how it ends up going.
Hello. Hi, everybody.
All right, Hey, Barack. While we deal with some other things, I got a question for you, brother. Coming into this week, I didn't have a lot of hope for Miami. You did play UCA. Like you said, next week is Georgetown. Georgetown is a problem. I believe they were one of the best defenses last year. The DC Vicey won coordinator of the year last year. So that'll be a massive test for your team. How are you preparing for Georgetown? I know it was insane that some stuff you were doing in your game never works. I've never seen one work like since I've been here and through week 1. You ran a lot of screens that absolutely never work, but everything worked for you. So how are you really feeling going into the next one? Do you have a plan of attack?
we definitely need to rely a little bit more heavy on the run game. I think we ended up getting a little bit lucky with a lot of our passing, especially towards the end. But if we can end up kind of using the dual threat that is Mason as well as LaDainian Tomlinson, we can definitely end up going far in our running game. And then if we end up having a hot quarterback, then we can end up opening it up to the air. So just kind of progressing our game as that goes.
Anybody else? I mean, I could ask another question. I'll just open up the floor real quick.
Yeah, fire away, Parse. You got him. Ask him, man.
All right. One more question. I want to know if this is correct. I'm seeing here that do you remember how far LT ran that touchdown? Was it what, 72 yards?
I have the stats right here. I do not
I
see
think it
as
was.
long.
We'll go with it. Yeah, you probably.
It was
won't.
over 70 yards, yes.
So that will beat the longest run in RFCL history. I beat it. I had it last year with Bryce Robinson for 63 yards. So congratulations to your offensive line, the big people movers. With I believe Big Country. I forgot his name.
Country Pumpkin.
Country Pumpkin. Yeah, I believe he was moving the way on that one, and LT absolutely blasted through the hole. It seems like they were able to stop the run a little bit, and Mason just kept going. When you have a 5-foot, absolutely nothing quarterback out there running between people's legs like an elf, are you scared he's gonna fumble every single time he takes off?
I mean, there's a little bit of worry, but I think that he has secured the ball really well. I have not seen too many issues with that. Honestly, Mason played a hell of a game last week. I think that he ends up getting as much faith as he possibly can because of that. If he wants to run the rock, he can run the rock.
Fair enough. I got nothing because he was the net pad and everything. He's holding it.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we were all pretty impressed, Barack. So, a couple people were very excited for Miami. They think they're, like, okay, this is one of the best teams in the league. Some people are like, well, wait a minute, this is UCA. Where do you think you sit in terms of the rest of the league? You think you sit maybe top 3, top 2? You think you're kind of middle 5, 6? You think you're still kind of at the bottom? I mean, you're obviously probably biased, but where do you think you actually sit in terms of league after 1 week?
I mean, after 1 week, I think that we proved that we're better than like the bottom third. So I think we're right around where we need to be. I mean, honestly, I think we can just keep proving people wrong. But at the same time, we just need to prove that we can end up playing these games. We can play these games at a high caliber. And UCA has been dealing with some staffing issues, as well as Parker Howe has been struggling on the offensive side. So I genuinely think that there is not a whole lot of expectation for us because of that. And ultimately, it comes down to how we play each week. We take it 1 week at a time. There's no thinking about week 4. There's no thinking about playoffs. We're thinking about week 2 right now. And then once week 2 is done, we're thinking about week 3. We're just going to keep taking it like that.
I like it. Blake Parse, you guys got anything else for Coach Brock Chalk?
I think I've asked what I need to ask. You got anything else, Parse?
I've had fun with my questions. Thank you for indulging, answering, and just being on for this question. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Coach Brock.
Of course.
All right, Brock
Thank you
Chalk.
guys for having me.
Congrats on the win again, man. Worst of luck next week and Wednesday night. You play at 8:30 Wednesday, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, worst of luck in that game, bud. And I'll talk to you next week.
All right. Talk to you next week.
Thanks, bud.
All right. Bye-bye.
You want to move down to broadcast?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So that moves us to the end of week 1. Any last quick thoughts on the end of week 1?
I feel like to be honest with you, I feel like
we've covered pretty good, but any last quick thoughts before we get into the week 2 matchups?
It's just it's one of those things where these guys pretenders or contenders. So we'll find out.
Okay, still a long season to go. Do y'all want to get to week 2 matchups? Y'all just want to choose one game each and go from there? Or do you want to go over all of them?
I can give you a rundown real quick on mine, to be honest with you. So we got Georgetown and Miami coming up. I've got Miami at 10-point favorite.
Hold on a second. Wait. I can put this on the screen real quick.
Oh, okay.
Let's just all do that. Let's just all go through real quick and talk about it.
All right, Miami,
Yeah,
Georgetown.
we'll get the matchups put up.
Boom.
Okay, so there we go. Miami, Georgetown. Yeah, I've got Miami at a 10-point
What?
favorite. I think offensively they're doing good. I think Georgetown will limit them, under 17 points. But the thing is, I just don't think Georgetown can put up the points. Obviously, Trigger, no disrespect. I'm just calling for what I'm seeing right now, and you'll agree with me. But until the offense can get going, that's just how I see that game going.
Pars?
If we're going through that one, I do believe it could be a close. Like I said, like Blake said, we have no idea what to make of Miami. Absolutely no idea to make of Miami. If they come out and absolutely kill Georgetown, which I don't think will happen, or if they come out and make the game close, they are not a pretender. They are instantly a contender. They are a top 6 team in my book the moment they do that. We're going to see about it. Defense on Georgetown is scary, but if they get offense going this week, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm honestly so shocked by Miami that I don't know what's going to happen. I could see this being a really close game.
I mean, as even be unbiased, I can. Like, who knows? I don't know what's going to happen in this game. I expected more from us last week. But Miami came out and was impressive, so this game could go either way. It'll be fun to watch. We're working on a game plan, get our stuff going, so should be a good game, I hope. Hopefully good for us. Cross your fingers. What game you guys want to hit next?
All right, so next we got CCU and UConn.
TCU and you. Ooh.
Yes, sir. Are you ready for my?
Let's see it.
All right. So CCU, UConn. I've got UConn as a 7-point favorite. I think this is actually, when you take Central Oklahoma out of this is your 2 and 3. CCU, like I said, was disrespected in the polls. Still a top 3 team. You've got Coach Gage. You've got Coach Twist. You can't doubt them. Obviously, like I said, they lost some key pieces, but they brought in some guys who I think are still going to keep them in a top 3 position. But I think UConn already has everything figured out this early in the season. They already know what they need to do. They showed that last week. So this is just that's why I'm playing it safe with UConn at a 7-point favorite. But, with a figured-out Coastal team, this is going to be one of those money line games, guys.
I'll go for Pars and get your thoughts on it, as obviously you're coaching this game. I think UConn rolls this game. I don't think they beat him by 30 like they did in DSU. I think UConn by 10 to 12, maybe 14. You've got Gage, you've got Twist. They do their thing, but they've lost some talent, and they're kind of back in the real world of where this was last year quarterback-wise. They don't have that best quarterback in the league overall wise. Since that, they're not the best quarterback in the league anymore. I think they have a probably bottom 5 quarterback right now. They'll get until he proves it. And I've been on UConn bandwagon, UConn App State bandwagon since the early preseason. I think UConn rolls in this game, and that's no respect to Coast Carolina. I just think UConn's just with UCO on that next level team right now. And until they lose, that's what I'm going to say. Pars, what are your thoughts going in this game, and how do you feel about it?
No, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate everyone who has us. I will say that I am not sleeping on Gage and CCU. I will say we had an extremely close game last year. I understand they missed a lot of pieces. I have seen what that team can do. They were against UCO. Fantastic team. As of right now, the number 1 team. I'm not sleeping on them. They have a pretty good roster, regardless of everything that left. The wide receivers are good. I've scouted the team. I am feeling good about it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys and be completely humble. I'm feeling good about it. I think we win, and I think we win by more than 7. But also, anything could happen in this game. I don't know how good I am. I played NDSU, a expansion team, and rolled over them. That's true. I have no idea what to take from that game. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. So I don't know, and I don't know how good they are. They played UCO first. So this is kind of like different sides of the spectrum. They played number 1 team, we played the number 10 team. So it's really like 2 different sides of the spectrum. We're really going to come at this, and we're going to butt heads for 60 minutes and see who comes out on top.
Yeah, so what's kind of thoughts on UConn, Coastal Carolina? What game you want to go to next, Blake?
We got App State and NDSU.
NDSU, App State. Perfect, nailed it.
So yeah, when I'm looking at this game, App State is a team who's one of the the most talked about team. They kind of proved a little bit of that hype last week. I think, this is one of the teams that labs the most, the team that practices the most, tries to figure out their scheme the most. So always going to be a dangerous squad to go up against. Like I said, NDSU has the players, but can they put it together coaching-wise? At the end of the game, NDSU's last game, the loss, showed a little bit of glimpses of what they can do offensively. As low scoring as App State was last week, I wouldn't put them as a blowout. But I do think that App's going to control the game, limit NDSU, and by doing that, not going to allow them enough time to be able to figure out what they need to do. I've got App State as a 14-point favorite.
What do you got, Pars?
Yeah, that makes sense to me. Like I said, going back to last week for NDSU, they did get blown out. But it's just, I went out and did what I was supposed to do as a top 3 team in this league. App State, they play a lot. They practice a lot. They scrim a lot, but that has yet to translate to a game. App State won 1 game last year, and guess what? They did the same thing throughout the year, and they won 1 game. So it's real hard for me to give them more than 2 touchdowns over NDSU. But I'll go it. I would say App State wins this by 2 touchdowns. If they might even win this by 17. I just don't see NDSU having that great of a game. I don't know what they're doing for practice this week to get into it. I know there are some issues with the head coach and availability this week for practice, so I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen. But I'll take App State over 14.
Yeah, 14. I might stay away from that. So take a money line here. Just as an easy win. But I think App State wins, controls this game. And NDSU, and until they prove something, it is what it's going to be. You're not going to be getting respect till you earn that respect. And so you kind of fell into the trap we all thought you would fall into week 1, where your expansion can you figure it out, and you didn't, and you got stomped. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It is what it is. It happens. But we're all going to look at you as that team, until you figure it out. It's how we're going to think about you. So they have another chance. I think if they compete with App State, I think it'll be a giant step to even compete with them. After last week, if you play with them, make it close, you give them more respect. But I think App State does win this by double digits. I don't think there's any question there, really. So that's my thoughts on that game. And that's going to move us to, Blake, tell me if I'm wrong, Montana, UIU.
It is. And,
right.
Y'all two go ahead and speak on it, and I'll wrap us up with how I'm feeling about this game.
Bro, what a game! Honestly, that's such a good game to me. In my opinion, this is the game of the week. It's either UConn, obviously Coastal, or this game right here, because this game is going to be insane, right? If you look at these teams, Upper Iowa should have an amazing run offense, and also out of nowhere, they got a transfer as a wide receiver plus Vlad back as a 5-star wide receiver, plus their 5-star quarterback. So it's just really these two offenses should absolutely go at each other for 60 minutes. It should be insane. I don't think it's going to be high scoring, but I think we're going to see a lot of yards. I think we're going to see some turnovers from both teams, maybe 2 to 3, depending on what happens during the game, depending on who gets hot. And honestly, it's Chalupa versus Barry. Who can get hot first?
Yeah, no, this is definitely the game of the week, I think, as well. And two teams that I don't want to say it's make or break for a season. Obviously, there's a lot to go, but this is a huge game week 2 because both teams still have something to prove, right? Montana, I said, was probably ranked real high, and they lost to App State, so they still got to prove that they deserved a top ranking. UIU got disrespected, they thought, in the preseason. They got a big win against Georgetown. Can they continue get another win against Montana and prove that even more they got disrespected? Or does Montana beat them and say, hey, you're not as good as you thought you were, maybe you were right spot in the polls, and we should be higher? This is a big proving game for both teams, I think. Both teams have a lot to prove here, and the winner here will get a lot of respect. I think the loser falls back down probably bottom 7 of the league, or bottom 3-4 of the league. So it's a big proving game, I think, for both teams. Coach Blake, what are your thoughts going into the game? How you feeling about it? And don't you tell us your exact game plan, so we can game plan for that.
So realistically, looking at this game, it's almost a exact representation of what we faced last week. A team that controls the clock with their run game. I don't know if App State intentionally I know they intentionally controlled the clock, but I don't know if it was by with their run game. I think they, kind of just ran the clock on their own. But anyways, this team in Upper Iowa, Sneak is a great coach. He's going to control the game. He's going to have tremendous run game. He's going to force you to have to play that, and then he's going to be able to throw the ball downfield and make plays. It's one of those things where it's going to be a chess game. It's not going to be very high scoring unless Chalupa gets just hot really early. Then I think we can take off with the win. But yeah, it's going to be one of those things where if we cannot get hot early, it's going to come down to the wire. It could be a field goal, could be an overtime situation. But we're kind of looking at it like we did last week. This is going to be almost the same type of game.
Yeah, I agree. I think it'll be a very similar type of game. Very grinded out, probably low scoring relatively. Very close game. Could come down to the field goal. Hopefully you're on the right side of this time for yourself.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
And that should lead us to the last game of the week. UCO versus UCA. Par, what are your thoughts?
We definitely should have switched. We definitely should have flipped these and done this game, and then talked about our game of the week, because this is going to be an absolute bloodbath.
Well, I will say some breaking news. I got some. Wad is not available this week. Now, I don't think it changed the outcome, but just Wad is not available. Joe can hold
that changes a lot for me.
Pars, I don't know if you saw the same thing I did, but in the playoff game against Southern Miss last year, they really struggled without Wad. Now, got hot real late in the game, but first half, early second half, really struggled to find something offensively without Wad.
No, yeah, I mean, when you look at it, Wad makes that team go around. Like, he's a fantastic offensive coordinator. Second in coordinator of the year poll last year. Thought he could have won. Thought he should have won. Just me, myself. But Wad makes that team go around. Will he have a game plan for Gerald? Gerald has had a lot of time with him. And at least this year, he's not going to be alone. Last year, when Wad wasn't there, Gerald was alone. Cora was watching baseball. So at least this year, he has a DC there with him to help him go through the playbook and help him figure things out. It doesn't change a lot for me. This is still a blowout win. However, it's not as much as what it should be.
So the only thing really exciting about this game is, and Vicey hit on the chat, what if? Right? What if? I don't think it's gonna happen. I think UCO blows them out, Wad there or not. But just what if? That's always the exciting about this game. Is like, what if? I think that what if will be gone after about quarter and a half. But you never know. UCO should roll this game. Thoughts, Blake?
It's one of those things where it doesn't take a good squad. If Parker Howell gets hot, it's a tough team to try and beat. If they somehow manage to get him hot early, it's going to be tough for Caleb. I can't lie, but Caleb's got a great team, so I don't think Caleb will struggle in calling plays offensively. I think he's been around Wad long enough to kind of pick up on what Wad wants to do. Might have a little bit of rust there early, but he'll figure it out. But like I said, if Parker Howell gets hot, we could see an upset.
You never know. Like no. You never know.
No.
Far says no.
Hey,
I'm staring deeply into the camera and shaking my head.
But after I said that, Central Oklahoma by 14 points.
Yeah.
Central Oklahoma by a lot more than 14 points, but it's all right. It's all right. Central.
Hey, I'll tell you this. If UCA comes out in a wishbone formation, I'm going to go ahead and change the line to 28.5 off the bat.
As you probably should. That wraps up week 1 games, week 2 games. Blake, do you want to announce players of the week? Do we have that ready to announce? That's we're going to wait till later.
I think we're going to release them tomorrow. We're still on the line of defensive player of the week. We have the offensive, but we're going to wait until we have both, so that way we can, have them there with a good graphic, get everything posted.
You should be on the line about offensive, but we'll talk about that later.
And I just received a DM from the Central Oklahoma coach himself, and it says, Blake, I'm killing you. So, just kidding. Anywho, yeah, y'all stay tuned. Tomorrow we will have offensive player of the week, defensive player of the week. And a great week of games. So, anything else y'all got?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Sweet.
All right, guys. Big week come ahead. Tuesday night is our first game, 7 o'clock on the RFL YouTube channel, not on this channel. I'll figure out the multi-stream channel soon enough, and we'll get it all figured out, and we'll be on the RFL channel where we should be. Streamlabs is messing up, but we'll hopefully be on the RFL channel soon. That's where the games will be starting at 7 o'clock Tuesday night. First game is, you know, the first game off the top of the head? Tuesday?
It was what is
It's
the game?
me.
It was Coastal Carolina, UConn.
It's me. Yeah.
Another a huge game, big game there. Two probably top 4 teams going at it. Don't miss it, guys. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Until then, guys, see you next time. Thanks.